you shouldn't have children early. Obviously, the love for children is something else, and it might override whatever ambition you might have. He used to be a very good actor. He was doing some stuff, but he sounded like it was such a distant thing that he loved and he just lost. You could see the negative emotion on his face when he was talking. So I'm like, so what happened? He's a family now, you're married, born picking. Let it not be that you will come back and sit in regret one day that you did not pursue your dreams and you now calculate and see the eyes because you had a child early. You're going to be sacrificing part of yourself for your child. Most of the people I know that have had children, the guys in question here, they are gaining weight. People that got married like 6 months ago. I see them now, they're all looking very chubby. But that's good for a guy. But for women, childbirth is a rigorous 9-month plus experience and it does something to your body. Some of your hotness and steeze, you should not work hard to maintain it. It's not going to come back easily for you like that. I think children are overrated. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the Good Living Podcast. I'm your host, Coke Boy. Always been your host, Coke Boy. We are approaching the ending of season 1 of the Good Living Podcast. 100 episodes produced, recorded and dropped. Let me say recorded and dropped. Not everyone is a video, but most of them are videos. And I think that's a big milestone. So be there for the 100th episode. This video is sponsored by God is the Greatest Foundation. It's a foundation that I believe in. Like, I see the work that they do, and they do a lot of outreaches, and it's really good work in a time and in a country where nobody really gives a fuck about the next person. For people to still pull in their funds, their time, and their energy to help the less privileged, where they know they will get nothing in return. I think they deserve our support one way or the other, and this is to them. Now, the episode we are talking about today, I want to go out to say that this is not life advice. This is just certain points that I believe are true that I'm going to point out in case some of us, this idea hasn't come to our head yet. And today we are talking about the reasons why you shouldn't have children early or yet. Trust me, I know it sounds bad, especially coming just after the episode where I was talking about beating children. And well, if you don't know what I said in that episode, don't judge me. You should go and watch it first. But on this episode, I'm going to give you 6 reasons why you should not reproduce early. Not why you should not, well, but reasons why producing early might not be the best idea for you as a young person. And number 6 is the one that's going to shock you. You know that hook that they used to do? I don't know if I did it, but I'm going to try and make sure that the one I say last is going to be the shocking one, or is going to be the most insane one. First reason I actually wrote down is that it reduces your willingness to take risks. Everybody knows that even in business, the bigger you are likely to lose, the bigger you are likely to win. You get? So the higher you risk, the higher you can achieve. And in life, generally, people play it safe and refuse to stop risking when they have children. And how far you can go in life depends on how many risks you're willing to take. Generally, our success level is dependent on the amount of risks you're willing to take and how skillfully we can manage those risks. So someone who's taking smart, calculated risks in life will go far, depending on how many of those risks he's taking. And somebody who is not will not go far because they're just living a basic life. And obviously, the love for children is something else, like I've always said on this podcast, and it might override whatever ambition you might have. But let it not be that you will come back and think and sit in regret one day that you did not pursue your dreams, and you now calculate and see the eyes because you had a child early, that you did not pursue your dreams the way you're supposed to, or take the risk you were supposed to take. The way people are very jittery about living, for example, when a man is in danger, like maybe about to be killed by another man, even in movies you see it, he'll be like, he first starts to mention if he has a child. I have a 2-year-old daughter. My wife just born, that kind of thing. Because there's this scare that you get of leaving your offspring in this world alone, of leaving your wife in this world alone. So that makes you not want to die. And the less, or not want to fail, let me not be too extreme. And the less risk you take, the less likely you are to fail. I mean, to fail at something big. So you might still fail in life generally. I'll give you another example. A couple of years ago, I used to work at one MTN office somewhere around me. And I was just an office guy. I used to sit in the office. So I had one customer that came in. And I think he was waiting for somebody. So he was sitting across from me and he was waiting. And then we started talking. And I was talking about movies. I think there was a movie playing, right? And he was not talking about movies, the guy. I was saying he was like in his 30s then. This was like 6 years ago or so. And he said, ah, that he used to like this thing. I said, which thing? He said, acting now. He used to be a very good actor. He was doing some stuff. But he sounded like it was such a distant thing that he loved and he just lost. You could see the negative emotion on his face when he was talking. So I'm like, so why is you so what happened? He's a family now, I'm married, born picking. So he was treating he had a dream, and that I'm sure had this fire inside him that was burning. And he still wanted to do all the normal things of life, like get married at the right time, get children. And he has seen now that that slowed the thing that he really wanted to do in life, and see him now in the office with this strange guy complaining. And just so we don't have that kind of life, because if his child or his wife could end up seeing that a video, a footage of that event, they will think he doesn't love them. But he does. So for you not to be in that kind of situation, probably it's best for you to think carefully and decide that you're going to chase your dreams first, or know to the level extent of success in terms of chasing your dream that you'd reach before you now begin to reproduce. So that's the reason why there's simply no prejudice. But there's a solution for that. Like every reason why, I think there's a way you can mitigate against it. One could be you have to still take risks, but now let there be a clear line you're going to draw. For example, if somebody is an upcoming artist, you want to be a musician, and you know that if you are bound, if you have a child, it's going to bind you to responsibilities that might hinder your progress. Decide at what point you're going to pursue this music thing to before you know, reproduce. For example, you're in your 20s, give yourself 15 years, right? So all the normal things my mates are doing now, getting married and stuff, I will not do it. Let me give this my career, everything for 15 years and see how far I go. That's a line you've drawn. So if after 15 years you've not made it as a musician, then you can be at peace with yourself that you followed your plan, and at this point it's time to face something new. And marriage and childbearing is still a fulfilling thing, I suppose. So that's something you can do. Draw a line, but still take risks. Just draw your line somewhere. The next reason why, and all these things are good reasons, but if you're not ready for them, that's when they become bad reasons. So it depends on how you see it, right? But you're going to be sacrificing parts of yourself for your child, for your offspring, whether you like it or not. And this is for people who intend to be in their children's life. I'm not talking about those runaway dads or runaway moms. Runaway moms don't really exist. They are tied to the child. But as long as you're going to be raising that child yourself, you're going to be sacrificing part of yourself for that child until eventually all of you will be given to the child, because life is in phases. At different stages of your life, you sacrifice different parts of your life. Even your time. There are things that you would naturally do when your child is a baby. Those activities, because you are taking care of a toddler, for example, those activities will disappear from your life automatically. And then when your child is able to walk by himself, you're like, hey, I don't need to be in their face 247 this time. Let me have some free time to do something else. At that new age your child has reached, there are still commitments that you still have, and there's part of you that is going to take for you to raise that child. So it's an ever giving procedure. It's a continuous sacrificial thing when you have a child. And I've learned this from people that have children. I've spoken to people that I know that have reproduced, and this is the thing. And it's not as if they regret it, but you have to be prepared that your life is not just yours anymore. And you have to really know that someone else owns it with you. And for somebody who has not given birth yet, or is not quite ready, that might seem like a tough ask. So, but you need to know that's what you're going to be given if you're going to have a child. And this is going to be happening bit by bit. So you might not see it. It might be a very slow, gradual process. And then at the end of the day, you realize, oh, I gave up on my dreams, or oh, I did this whole thing, this whole parenting thing full time, and forgot that I wanted to even be this other person. But you've given so much of yourself to your child at this point that it doesn't really matter anymore. Your child is now your investment. Your child is now you. So but you need to know, be aware. It's like signing a contract and not reading what is on it first. Let them not go and reach 5 years in the future. You now say, but I didn't know this was what was going to come of it. So you should know now. And I like to give solution to this as well, but there's no solution. It's just what happens when you have a child. So be prepared. The third one, it changes your body. I know it's not applicable to every gender, or it's not even applicable to every person. But to guys, you just have to get fatter. You're going to get some meat on your body, extra meat. Maybe that comes with marriage, because Most of the people I know that have had children are people who are married first. So the guys in question here, they are gaining weight at an unprecedented rate. People that got married like 6 months ago, I see them now, they're all looking very chubby. So that's good for a guy. We age like fine wine. But for women, childbirth is a rigorous 9 month plus experience, and it does something to your body. If you're lucky, you won't have any physical changes after childbirth or after having the child. But if you're not so lucky, then obviously, as a woman that has given birth, it will show in your body, in your physique. And I believe everybody is ready for that change. But often, I feel like we are not quite sure the extent of damage that childbearing can do to our body. Like some ladies underestimate it. They're like, no, no worry. Me, when I born my own, I go day. Everybody thinks that their own is going to be different until the weight comes in and all of that comes in. And you might even tell yourself, oh, after I go diet, or I go do it, I go to the gym now, I go to work out, I go work out, make my body come back. It's easier said than done. That's the only solution to it actually. If that eventually happens. But you should also know that it's not easy like that. If you want to have a child, you have to know that you have to sacrifice some part of you, some of your hotness and steez. You should not work hard to maintain it. It's not going to come back easily for you like that. You just had a child. It's a magical procedure. It's not something that you can just bounce back from like that. So know this, that unless you are rigorously going to come back to perfect body physique, intentionally do the work that it takes, you have to understand that your body is going to like change completely and accept it before keeping that pregnancy or even having unprotected sex in the first place. But if you're married, yes. The fourth one, the fourth reason is a very funny reason because it doesn't really make sense, but it does. And that is that if you have one child, you will have another one. I don't know anybody. I hardly know as apart from people who have given birth in the last year that I know. I don't know anybody that has one child. Everybody I knew from 3, 4 years ago that had one kid, they have two now. So I'm just saying because it's also a financial commitment with yourself. And if you're married, you're not going to be using protection. And when you impregnate your wife, you cannot be like, ah, shit, we can't keep this. Especially when you're not poor, you be like, yeah, yeah, another one. Let's wing it. And that's how it happens. So if you're not ready for children at all, don't even start. Because when you start, you're not planning for one child, you're planning for children. Really, maybe it's not just me. So tell me in the comments if you. By the way, Spotify has comments now, right? So you can comment when you listen, not only when you watch on uh not only when you watch on YouTube. You can comment on Spotify, you can comment on YouTube. And we are also on YouTube Music and Apple Podcast. By the way, if you're seeing an Instagram reel, just comment link or comment episode, and the full episode will be sent to you via your DM immediately. Yeah, let's get on with the podcast. So you can tell me in the comment section if you know anybody that has two children. That has only one child, like for over 5 years. Married couple, only one child for over 5 years. I would like to know if they exist because I've not seen any. Everybody who has been married for over 3, 4 years that I know or that has had a child, they always have another one. And that's something that sometimes comes unprecedented. I mean, it's no secret. I'm just going to say it. Even among all of us that are adults now, even our parents, if they tell you the truth, not every single child was planned for. It's just because they are married. So you have to keep. So either the first one or the last born. It's mostly one of those two. Not everybody is planned for. So one of you, well, thank God, in my family, I think they planned all of us. I don't think, I'm sure they planned all of us, but some of you, who knows? It's a small like reason why you always have another child. You can always do family planning, like they say, but you see, a lot of these things are easier said than done. Family planning, yes, you do IUD, yes, but it's new technology, all right. It's new technology, these things, and new technology is really difficult for people to accept or start using, even though they think it's good, even though they believe in it. But for you to get up and get out and go and look for your family planning thing, the IUD or whatever it is you do, is a different ball game altogether. And most couples just never get around to doing it. And that is how a second child comes. It's most often like that. So even if you really want to do family planning, if you don't take action to actually do it, you'll find yourself just giving birth sporadically. I have a neighbor in my family house. His wife is never not pregnant. I sound like a joke when I'm saying this, but you will see somebody like 2 years ago, yeah, there's somebody who I thought was their last born, but he has two younger brothers now. That's the way she gives birth. So you would be wondering, and they all look alike. So you think this one is not growing, but he has grown, and it's a new one that you're looking at now. That's how they have children in that house. He's a teacher. Pam pam. The woman's stomach is constantly big. I don't think he lets her rest. But it's like she's used to it now. That's her own job too. She just gives birth to children. Personally, I want to have plenty children as well. So yeah, that's the thing. So if those people, even if they say, "Oh, let us," maybe after the fourth child, they say, "Okay, it's enough." I don't know how she calls him. Maybe she calls him teacher too. We all call him teacher. And she's like, "Teacher, it's okay now. Let's take care of the ones we have." He's like, "Yeah, it's true. It's true. This pregnancy thing is not good." Yeah. But if they don't do anything about it, that night again, they might conceive. So I think it's taking action and be intentional about the planning if you don't want to have more than one child, at least for you. And not couples are always like want to explore, want to do this, want to you will not do it if you born picking quick, oh. Like a lot of times you think you will. You have to make bastard money before you can do stuff. So the fifth one is that you might end up being a bad parent. And I'm getting this analogy from the fact that I know that if you're somebody that is very ambitious and really, really driven to do something and you know you're going to do it regardless of anything, you will hardly achieve the greatness that you want to achieve. I'm talking about proper greatness, especially the one that has to do with fame, because that is where I've seen the evidence. You can hardly achieve those things and still be close to a child that you had early while you were still aiming or gunning for your dream or for your goal. And I've seen this evidence in people like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, the one that all of us are revering in the world now as the genius behind Apple. But he had a daughter early in life when he was still struggling. And because of how serious he was with the iPhone that we have today, well, not literally the iPhone that we have today, because he didn't see all these ones. He died in 2011. But because of this dream, he neglected his family. He neglected his, let me say, baby mama. He wasn't married. His baby mama and his daughter. And it was only after he had even run Apple and sold Apple that he had a relationship with his daughter, that she was even staying in the same house with him. But after then, all was said and done. He was already, up there. Apple was the most profitable company in America. So you might end up being a bad parent for the majority of your child's life, and for their formative years, you might be that parent that they just never get to see, and you have a problem with your wife or your baby mama or your baby daddy, for example. But I just don't want to put this thing with women, because the evidences I have are only of men. Because it's much easier for a man to abandon a child than for a woman to do the same thing. So we are more guilty of that kind of behavior. And if you're not ready for a child and you know you are aiming for something that you know is great, then you probably not get one, because you might not have the time and you have to choose. And if you make a decision that you want to, in fact, I think in your life, what you what you take more seriously will make the decisions for you. I don't think you're going to have to sit down and think, between my family and my career, who I would choose, who do I give this time? You'll find yourself in the studio or whatever you want to do, or on the pitch training, doing whatever it is you're doing for your goal, and neglecting your child on autopilot. You always come back to the complaints of you're never here, you're absent minded, this, that. And you will know that's where you will know that you've chosen your career, your life, and all of that over the child that you have. And even when that child becomes a toddler, even more so, you'll be more distant, because now it's not a baby anymore. It can begin to do things by itself, by him or herself. The grandparents or whoever is raising the child is there, and you face your thing. It's only when, if you succeed, you can now come back. Especially with people, everybody likes success, so it will be easier for you to mend that relationship if you have money. If Steve Jobs had failed, I don't think he's going to have the relationship that he had with his daughter before he died. Another example I think I saw on the internet was Wizkid, his mom's funeral. I know Wizkid's first son was born very early in his career when he was still looking for something greater. And now that he is who he is, I saw the atmosphere when he was with his son. It doesn't give that father the way most of you are with your fathers. It doesn't give that vibe. You get, there's some level of distance between them, because the truth is he wasn't really really in the boy's life. Now celebrities try to do stuff for social media, take a picture with the baby and post, let it be as if that big picture will last in all of us head as if two of them are spending every day together, but they just took that picture so they can post it, and then they get busy with their lives, and that child doesn't see the father for a very long time. But it's easier to mend if you eventually succeed, which is why if you take that route, you have to make it. If not, most of the time when you come back, your child doesn't want you anymore. Especially if there's no inheritance. Like, I mean, what's in it for the child? They're just coming back there to. So it's a difficult situation to be in. And if you're going to chase something, then it's better for everybody to just respect themselves and use protection. Hmm? Use protection and whatever you need to do so you don't have unwanted pregnancies or unwanted children. Generally, I think children are overrated. Before they are born, or not after they are born. I mean, I think having kids is overrated. It's people they are bringing to this world, and we've checked all of us. Like people are not good, so you're just bringing more. That's what you're doing. So when you have a child, you take care of them and teach your child with love and make sure they're a very very decent person that adds to society. But until then, it's not as if it's something that is a must do. You have to see it that way. I mean, I want to continue my bloodline, but if you agree, agree. You don't agree, you don't agree. And then the final one that I said was going to shock you, which at this point, after all this talking, doesn't really seem like much anymore. But it is the fact that the kids would have to become your second chance at life. And this is a frustrating part because even if it's nice, and most times your children don't even realize that this is what the case is, and then they antagonize you for the way you're trying to raise them. Everybody has, even the way we are living our lives now. As young as I am, I already have things that I think about, and I'm like, so years ago, if I knew this, what thing I knew now, it would be like hack. Life would be like like something I'm hacking, and I would be much better, and I'd have made better decisions. And every year of your life, you keep thinking, even as I am now, there are still things I'm still going to do that when I'm 30 or 35, I'll be thinking, I should have done that better. So there is no cheat code to life except our parents. But then human beings are designed in a way that we have autonomy of mind and we want to do what we want to do, especially once you hit puberty. Especially once you've seen that the things your parents are telling you. This is a different podcast for another day, sha. But once you hit puberty and you want to start doing your own thing, you will not let your parents talk to you anymore. And the things they want you to do are not ever aligning with the things you want to do. But believe you me, if you really calm down, to those of you who your parents love you, if you think about it, the things that your parents are pressuring you to do when you were much younger and you were, doing strong head, if you had done those things, your life would probably have ended up better than it is right now. For those of you who have smart parents, yeah. So when you have a child, the mistakes that you made as a young person, you would want to correct it in their life. And this is like a two-edged sword because now you have an opportunity to redo life, but in a vessel that doesn't understand that that is what it is. And sometimes you might get too desperate to do it that you now end up have your child antagonize you in the process. Now you've seen the mistakes that you've made. Your daughter is going through the same exact stage of life and she's about to make those mistakes, and you cannot be direct because in Africa parents really cannot be telling you things word for word verbatim. They want to use God and religion to try and preach the morality without actually just hammering it in you. I mean, they can't say it like that. You don't understand that they've been here. They will not tell you straight up like I've been here before. They'll try to correct you one way or the other. If you're not getting it, this one is losing patience. This one is wondering why this one is so invested in her life. And then there's a clash. The main issue might even become the second point. The main point will be why you talk to me like that. And then there's a big issue. So the first thing you can do here is try to do your own life to the best of your be satisfied with your life before you reproduce, because when you reproduce, like I said, you're sacrificing parts of your life for that child, and then you see that child now those stages of their life as you redoing your own, and if they don't see it like that and you're too eager to do something about that life that you didn't do for yourself, you might end up your child might end up your enemy at the end of the day. And it's a very very tough position to be in, because there's one thing I'm sure of in this life: no parents hate their children. I don't know what 50 Cent was doing in Power Shah that he killed his son, but to be honest, I don't think any parents hate their children. I've not been a parent before, but I've felt the love of my parents. I've seen what people can do for their children. Your parent is the only person that you can be sure will die for you. Your parent is the only person that you can be sure wants you to do better than them. 100%. All the people that you are seeing, all your best friends, there's a level that you will reach It will be as if devil entered them. It's just how life is. Only your parents really want that level of success that you want for yourself. And children don't know this. But we should know now. Like even if we sometimes we know but we don't see the evidence enough, so we don't really rate it. But I can guarantee you that this is the truth and this is exactly how our parents feel sometimes. And the way to mitigate or the way to solve or avoid this problem is to communicate. If this is the way you're feeling towards your child, then just say that's the way you're feeling. If you've been there, tell your child that you've been there. If girls are moving like this, they are 20. I mean, it's like I'm talking to people in their 50s now, raising children in their 20s. But I think this is how it is. This is my memory, right? This is my thought pattern, the way that I see this thing going. So that's the sixth one. I don't know. Let me know if it was actually the best one or I just arranged it. I could have arranged them anyhow and it would have still gone the way it went. But thank you very much. Remember, your contributions are needed, right? To do some good. When I'm praising God is the greatest foundation and all the selfless things they do, you can be part of that too. Their Instagram is right here on the screen. You can see everything is legit. I personally vouch for them, and this is not even a paid ad. It is something I see as good, and anybody who really has some good in them or want to do something good, you can find some of these foundations and these channels and try to extend your helping hand through them. Thank you very much for listening and watching the Good Living podcast. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you next week. Ciao.